Hey YouTube, Jared Fuller here. Today is Sunday, April 29th, 2018. Not a very good end to the week. There are a couple of things that I need to get over, or need to address. So first things first, as many of you know, back in March, I attended a birthday party for Deanie. And in addition to getting to meet Deanie, I also got to meet Miles and Makanda, two other DIPG warriors. And I had a picture taken with Makanda. Very sweet girl. She was very self-conscious about her smile. And right after we had taken the picture, she says, "My smile isn't the greatest, you know." And I told her, I said, "You know what?" I said, "Your smile is beautiful. No one can smile like you. And you will always be Makanda, no matter what." And it helped to cheer her up. It livened up her spirits a little bit. So I come to you with the sad news, and I regret to inform that sweet Makanda has passed away. She died yesterday at 12:18. And I will have a picture at the end of this video. I send my condolences. I offer my love and support to Makanda's mom and her brothers and sisters, or her siblings rather, and her parents, and to the rest of her family. It weighed heavily on my mind all day yesterday. I wasn't in any kind of mood. And I just needed to get out of the house, so I went up to my cousin's house yesterday. I kind of rode around. I went around the Tri-Cities area. I went to Saginaw, went to Bay City, went to Midland, and then I just went up to my cousin's house. I just needed to get away for a while and let my mind, wander a little bit. But Makanda, she was just just the sweetest girl you'd ever know in your life. I mean, she was just very, just really nice. I mean, she was very polite when I met her. And although she was a bit self-conscious about her smile, she went ahead and agreed to have the picture taken. And she says, she actually apologized to me, and which there's nothing to be sorry for. You didn't ask for this. And she didn't. No child asked to be sick or to have a terminal illness. But I will never forget the words that I said to her, and I will never forget how it uplifted her spirits. And so today I'm still kind of, I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there, but I'm still heartbroken that Makanda had passed away. She was very young, and she was dealt a very crummy hand. And again, I offer my condolences and my sincerest of apologies to her parents and her siblings and to the rest of her family. Makanda will always have a special place in my heart that will never change. And I will continue to raise awareness and push for funding and research in her honor, her legacy, and her memory. So if any of Makanda's family is watching this right now, I send along my love and condolences, and I'll keep you in my thoughts. So that's one bit of bad news to get out of the way. The other bit of bad news is Buddy Boy's DIPG has redeveloped. He went to Mexico this week for treatment, and the parents that I'm very good friends with, they feared the worst, and the worst had happened. In fact, it was a regression of his tumor. And so what I'm going to do is have another donation jar set up for Buddy Boy at the local pharmacy in town. I already had the permission to do so. Amy, who's off camera, but she can hear everything I say. She had a bit of help with that, so thank you, Amy, for that.
You're welcome, Jared. And that goes up there, what, tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. I still have to make the jar. I have a lot of work to do yet.
Yeah.
So that's the 411 on that is his DIPG. The tumor has come back, and it's just been a real crummy week. It's just not been a good week. And it's also not been a good week for me as well, because one of the oncologists told me that I should have no emotional appeal to raising awareness or to anything relating to childhood cancer, because I was too little to remember. Now, mind you, I've had the same problem before with people who were indirectly affected, and they refer to themselves as advocates. But for a parent to actually say that to me, and her son is a Wilms tumor survivor as well, so I was a bit taken aback by that. And I would dare say again that whether or not I can remember anything is irrelevant, because I'm still the same person. I mean, nothing changes just because you get older. Once you've been affected by that, it carries out for the rest of your life. And just because I don't remember something, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And so, and when I kind of made this known to them, they got pissed off, and so I'll probably never hear from them again. Oh well. I mean, I still wish all the best for her son, who's now in his 20s. He was diagnosed with Wilms at a young age, like I was, but I was much younger than he was. So that's what she was saying, is that, well, you were too little to remember, but it doesn't matter either way. So I wish the continued best of health for her son, if they're watching. But, I mean, just to be snide about it and to come at me with some stupid comment like, well, you were too little to remember. So what? I'll tell you what I can remember, and that's the checkups when I'd have to go to East Lansing. Started off, I was going 3 times a week. And then eventually, the older I got, it would dwindle down to maybe once a week or twice a week or twice a month or once a month even, until eventually altogether I'd stop going. But I don't understand. Of all people, a cancer parent would say this to me. It would make sense to me if someone was on the outside looking in, trying to tell me, because it's not the first time that's happened to me, and it probably won't be the last. But I've had a lot of people who are indirectly affected say, well, you're all better now. There's really no reason to dwell on the past. Well, for your information, I'm not dwelling on the past, because what happened in the past is going to have a lifelong effect. And that also came from a parent of a cancer warrior. And it's like, why all this disrespect being thrown at me? I can't understand it, but I understand how some people, they want to close that chapter of their lives. And I totally get that, and I can respect that. But it does not give them the right or the position to tell me that I should stop dwelling on the past, or you were too little to remember, and so you should have no emotional appeal. Well, I'm the one who went through it, and even now in my adult years, the chemotherapy still has an effect. Amy will tell you that.
Oh yeah, he can't even
And-
be in the sun. He burns.
Yeah, I burned so bad I was even put in the hospital. And that's been some time ago, but I don't know how that's relevant to the fact that I still went through it. Saying that I was too little to remember.
You were still going through it when you were like 15 and a half.
Yeah, I was, the treatment, they say I was too little to remember chemo and radiation. And I'm saying that what does that have to do with anything?
Right.
And it doesn't. If you don't remember certain things in your past, maybe it's best you don't. But
I agree.
you're still going to have lifelong effects
Yep.
from that traumatic experience that you had sustained in your life, that you have endured. And I don't understand people's logic. And I'm not bashing parents here. I'm not saying that cancer parents are mean, horrible people. I'm just saying that in those particular instances, they were wrong to say that. Even I wouldn't say something so callous. Well, you were too little, so you really shouldn't. No. And who are they to tell me or to tell anyone who can advocate and who can't? Although I don't have a problem calling out the problem people and the fakes and the frauds. Which, by the way, check out GuideStar.org on the bottom of your screen. GuideStar.org will tell you all you need to know about who's legitimate and who's not, because all you have to do is type in a name, a name, or in some cases a phony, what do you call that, a mission or whatever. And if it's not a 501c3 or an LLC, guess what? You're giving your money to a person single-handedly who lied.
You might have to get yourself a whole new headlight assembly.
Yeah. I have to get a whole new headlight, huh?
The whole assembly.
Oh.
Because look, that's what happened.
Yeah. Oh, geez. We're
Yeah,
doing a
and
Sunday
when I
video
looked, I
update right
loosened them
now.
up,
Yeah.
they snapped right off. These little pieces in
Yeah.
there?
We're doing the Sunday video update right now, but...
Okay, well, sorry. Yeah.
No, you didn't interrupt.
But,
You didn't interrupt.
That's your bulb, what's left of it.
Ooh.
That's what plugs into it.
Yeah, that's my... Was my bulb in my headlight. In my van.
So I might have to call them and see what...
I came home, and this is... I'm going to change the subject because I'm just going to keep beating a dead horse here. But I came home from my cousin's last night, and I came through Midland, and I got pulled over. And I didn't know that... at first I'm thinking, oh, man, I was speeding because I didn't see a speed limit sign. Well, I got pulled over... And I had to, of course, show my license, registration, proof of insurance. And while the cop was running my name and when he was running my name, I was looking for my license or my registration and proof of insurance. I couldn't find it. And he told me, he says, well, you got a headlight out. It's on the driver's side. And, I didn't know. And it was nighttime, of course. And so when he ran my name, and I'm scrambling, shuffling through all the papers, I'm looking in my glove box, looking in the center console, and I'm just trying to find what I'm supposed to be presenting to this police officer. And he came back with my driver's license. He says, well, I'm not going to write you a ticket or anything. And he says, were you able to find your proof of insurance or your registration? I said, no, I'm still looking. He says, don't worry about it. He says, just drive safe, get your headlight fixed, and have a nice evening. And he let me go. He didn't even give me a warning. He just said, have a nice night.
Oh, that's cool. So,
because usually they would issue a fix-it ticket, but he didn't even do that. He did.
You got him on a good night.
Yeah, he was a nice cop. But that's what happened. I didn't even know that the headlight was out. But I'm glad I know. But as you just heard, I might have to get a whole new assembly, which I drive a Chrysler Town and Country, so I don't know how much that's going to set me back. We'll have to call around to some auto parts stores, and if they don't have any in stock, they'll probably have to special order, and it might set me back about a couple $100 or so. Depending on, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just throwing numbers out there. I really don't know the price. But
Dad might be able to get a reasonable priced one for you.
yeah. Because I really don't want to go to a junkyard. And how would you know anyway if you went to a junkyard? Because you can't. I mean, I'm sure there's a way they could test the headlight.
Right.
Because they had like the battery charger things with the little jumper cable doohickey things on them where they can test the headlight. But I don't know. That's just a risk I would take, and I
don't feel like taking it.
If I have to drop a couple $100 or whatever, well,
so be it.
Then I guess I have to. I have no choice. I mean, I don't want to get a ticket. But
be in Dad's situation and have your tail lights and your brake lights out.
Yeah, he's got taillights and headlights not working, and that's going to cost some serious dough. I'm drinking Squirt today. Haven't had Pepsi in a few days. But I was at my cousin's last night, and we went walking down Whitefeather Road. For those of you who are familiar with Gladwin County, Bay County, they live right up the road from a little town called Rhodes, spelled Rhodes. So we went walking, and the sun got me a little bit yesterday. Not as bad, though. Not as bad as it could have been. We were picking up cans and bottles, and it was just me and my cousin Elwood and his 5 kids. Because his wife, their mom, was at work. And so we just went walking down the road. And we went bottle hunting, as I call it, bottle picking. And the funny thing is Damien and Anthony, my cousins, they wanted to go for the walk. So what did they do? They grabbed their bicycles.
Wow.
I hate to break it to you, but when you go on a walk, that doesn't require the use of bicycles. In which case you'd be cycling, not walking. So I was. It's like, yeah, typical kid stuff. They want to go for a walk, but I want to pedal. I'm still using my legs, and that's what they said. I'm still using my leg. Well, that's not the same thing. You're using your legs and your feet for different. You got to understand their humor.
Oh,
they're funny kids.
Yeah, they are.
Damien and Anthony and Tricia and Alexis and Ethan. Yep. Love them. They were happy when I showed up, because I actually showed up unannounced, uninvited, out of the blue. But they were happy to see me. And I was happy to have been there with them and to spend the day with them. I don't get to see them very often. They moved out of Chesaning. They moved up north, so it's like I don't get to see them a lot. So anytime I'm able to get up there and see them, I'm there. So I'm guessing after I'm done with this video, I'm going to get started on that donation jar for Buddy Boy, which will be at Schultz Central Pharmacy in Chesaning tomorrow. And I was even thinking about a poem for another cancer warrior when I get done with this video. So, but it's been kind of a rough week. Well, it has been a rough week. No kinda about it. It's been a rough week. And the thing about it is, and Dad and I, we were just having this discussion today, because we went over to my uncle's house about an hour ago. And we were talking, if it's an older person who passes away from cancer or whatever, it may be easier to handle. It may be easier to take because they have lived a life. You know, if they're 60, 70, 80 years old, they've lived a good life. But when we're talking about 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids dying from cancer, that's very, very, very difficult to handle. And I'm not comparing my grief to that of the grief of the parents. I would never do that. There is no comparative analysis, or at least I wouldn't compare my grief to theirs. It's selfish. I wouldn't do a thing like that. But it's harder to take when it's a child that dies from cancer because they didn't live a life. They didn't get to live a full life. They didn't get to, grow up to have a family of their own. They didn't get, not a first car, not a first date. They didn't go to their senior prom. Well, neither did I, but that's beside the point. But anyway, they didn't get to experience a lot of the firsts. And what pediatric cancer does, it's very debilitating in every sense of the word, any way you can imagine. It's really hard when it's a child that not only battles it, you watch them fight, but when they pass away, it's very, very hard. It's hard to take, and sometimes I talk about survivor guilt. Compared to what the parents are going through, my survivor guilt is pretty, minimal. It's not, a whoop-de-doo survivor guilt. You're guilty for surviving something that killed my child. And I understand, that's why I don't really put a lot of emphasis on survivor guilt. But I do feel horrible that something that had taken the life of a child is something that I beat. That's something that I have to live with, but even more, the parents have to live without their child, which is far worse than any survivor guilt ever, as far as I can tell, or as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it's been a rough week, and the news of McCanda's passing was just that was it. That was the straw right there, the final straw. But now, I'm glad that she's not in pain anymore, and that's a cliche that we hear. Well, at least they're not suffering anymore. Yes, but their children, they should be here with their parents, not suffering. That's the point. And while, there are people out there who will say that, well, at least they're not suffering, and they use that that kind of logic to alleviate the pain of loss. Really and truly, it doesn't make the situation any better. That's why I don't say things directly to the parents. Well, hey, at least they're not suffering anymore. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but they should never have to suffer while being alive. That's the point. They want their babies and their kids here with them. It's just as simple as that. It's a simplistic logic, that we don't want kids to suffer, and they should get to live a life and sustain childhood without some debilitating disease just taking away their childhood. But anyway, those are my thoughts on that. And like I said, I will have a picture of McCanda and I at the end of this video. The lasting memory, and perhaps maybe the only memory I'll ever have of McCanda, is having that picture taken. And when she said that to me, which my heart sank when she said that to me, and my smile isn't the greatest. Well, McCanda, your smile was absolutely beautiful to me. And that will never change. That will never change. But anywho, I've got some more requests for bird shirts. I think I showed these in last week's video, but I've got like 5 pages or 5 little mini sheets of bird shirt requests. This one has 2 bird shirts on one, so there's 2. Here's another one, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This one here comes all the way from South Africa. And these other requests, this one is from Mesa, Arizona. This one is from Rifle, Colorado. This one's from Muskegon, Michigan. And this one is Norman, Oklahoma. So, yeah. Those are the latest bird shirts. I may not be able to get to them right away now because of the headlight situation. Now I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to, or how much money it's going to set me back. I swear, if it's not one thing, it's another. But hey, that's life. Can't always get what you want, and things don't always go as planned. So, really not a whole lot going on around here today.
No, Dad's just pretty much trying to fix that van of his and yours.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, really, nothing going on.
Yeah, we went over to my Uncle Danny's about an hour ago, and they were gone. They left at 7 o'clock this morning.
Oh, did they?
We stopped at Shannon's, and because Dad had some film reels that he wanted to give Uncle Danny. They weren't home, so he left them on the porch, and then he went next door to his daughters, my cousins, Shannon's, and let Shannon know that, hey, there's something on the porch for your dad. So, but there's really not much else to talk about this week. I've been here for about a half an hour, about 26, 27 minutes, something like that. So it may be another brief Sunday video update. I don't think any of us have really been feeling very energetic lately. We've just been lounging around.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, I've kind of been in a depressed mood myself lately, and I don't know what's going on with that. I guess I'm
at the stage where sometimes I feel like I just want to hibernate in a room all day.
I mean, I'm at the point where I feel like I'm running in a marathon. And I just run and run and run and run and run nonstop, just constantly.
Yep, I feel you, Jerry.
And I feel like I'm getting nowhere.
Yep.
Especially with some people. I mean, you can do things for people and they don't appreciate it, or they just kind of push you to the back of the line, put you on the back burner.
Or you got people that just use you for what you got.
Yeah, that happens a lot too, getting used. It doesn't feel good. And I feel like I'm just constantly running in circles all the time. It's never a good feeling when you feel unappreciated or not loved or put on a back burner. That's never a good feeling at all. But, you know, we just got to keep carrying on. Life goes on. But you got to keep doing what makes you happy. If giving back to people makes you feel good, then do it. With of course, with exceptions, that you're not giving so much to the point where you have nothing left for yourself.
Right.
Because you have to learn how to balance between helping yourself and helping other people. But yeah, it's one of those things where you just,
Oh, Dad came in, Jared.
yeah, you feel like you're just running in circles all the time. And you're not getting anywhere. And I don't know. It's kind of a hard thing to explain, but it's not. Basically, what I just described, it's just when you constantly help people and they just, like, they don't care. They don't appreciate you or anything you do. Yeah, we're just sitting here today. Really not a whole hell of a lot going on. I've officially run out of things to say. What do you got there? Oh, the dog dishes? Amy, you might have to get the door.
I got it.
You sure?
I know, I've even ran out of things to say, Jared. I'm usually the talkative one.
You got it, Dad? Okay. And that door open is giving off a lot of glare.
And yeah, making you look white, ain't it?
Yeah, and I'm wearing a white shirt too, so.
Give me a minute, buddy. I'll get it for you.
But anyway, I guess there's really nothing else to talk about. I mean, I'm hanging in there, doing okay for the most part.
There you go. That better?
Yeah. It's just it's been a depressing week. It's not been a good week at all. And it gets to you. It kind of wears you down after a while. Always on the go. Thinking that when you do things for people, they would appreciate it or they would make you a priority. But, you know, I don't do it for the I don't expect anything in return, but once in a while it would be nice if someone would say, you know, just out of the kindness of their heart, not because they're obligated to,
Right.
but just
right.
out of the kindness of their heart, say, hey, we're having a cookout, we're having supper, we'd like to have you for supper. I don't like to be brought out of the shadows just long enough for people to get what they can get from me and then shove me back into the cupboard. I just don't like that. And I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't appreciate being treated that way. I mean, that's not fair. I mean, if someone goes out of their way to do something for you or your family, or if they show you love and understanding, the least you could do is just be appreciative of it. I don't think it's too much to ask. But that's just me.
On my point on that, I got a child right now. Her birthday's coming up. And I won't even be probably saying happy birthday to her because of the way she treats me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's unfortunate too. When you have your own children who don't even appreciate you, that's really
Hard.
shitty.
Because you love them to death.
You give birth to them, you give them life, and that's how they repay you?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. But anyway, this is going to be a very brief Sunday video update because there's really nothing else to talk about. I've been here for about 35 minutes. And I'm going to end on that note. Again, I want to close this video by offering my utmost condolences, my love and support to Macanda's family for this very, very big loss. I'm still heartbroken about it because like I said, you know, I actually met her and she was a very sweet, very kind little girl, and she just didn't deserve that. This is why we need to be very adamant and very serious about raising awareness and funding and research. Something that my dad and I had also talked about today is the way our government, they put children on the back burner when it comes to health care or anything for that matter. We live in a democracy where children come first, but yet they're always getting the shaft. They have the most injustices done onto them. And I think I said that in last week's video, but it's worth repeating because it's the truth. And things need to change. Seriously need to change. We need people in office who will make people a priority over money. And I'm sure you would agree, wouldn't you?
What?
That the government needs to make people a priority over money.
Yeah. They need to get the hell out of their asses.
That's
He put it point blank.
he couldn't have, well, he said it best. Government needs to get their heads out their asses. But all joking aside, I send my love and condolences to McCandis family, and she'll always be in my heart. She's always in my mind and my thoughts, and I'll end it on that note. So,
Try to have a good day, everybody.
have a good Sunday. Try to have a great rest of the week, and I'll be here next week, hopefully with a better report.
Hopefully.
So, much love and peace.